Chosen one, you didn't find this video by accident. Something unseen has aligned to bring you here. You won't believe how long they tried to keep your voice hidden. This is not an ordinary invitation. You've carried a quiet flame inside you, felt it flicker in your chest when no one else could see it. For years, you wondered, why am I different? Why do my dreams feel so vivid, but my words so small? That was never a mistake. Every hesitation, every whispered thought of giving up, it was all part of a divine design. Today, heaven is finally removing the veil. We will walk through the hidden signs that led you here. We will uncover why your silence was not shame, but preparation for your sacred roar. And we will give you the courage to speak with bold authority. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will change everything about how you see yourself and how the world hears you. Season of silent preparation. They say you held back for years, but what if that holding back was not your weakness, but your training ground? Picture a seed beneath cold earth. It looks still, but inside, a transformation is happening you cannot see. So it was for you. You felt stagnant, uncertain. You thought that fear was a sign to stop. You believed that silence meant you lacked worth. But those feelings were never meant to uproot you. They were meant to remind you, growth often begins in the dark. Think of Elijah hiding in the cave, thinking his voice could not matter. 1 Kings 19 verse 9. Yet while he hid, heaven was shaping him for a greater mandate. You have felt that same hidden fire, blazing in secret, waiting for its moment. They told you to blend in. They said it was safer to stay quiet. But that safety was a prison. Every moment you thought you failed, you were actually collecting strength. You were cataloging every question, every dream, every longing. All of it was gathering as fuel for the day your voice would break the surface. What if I told you those years were never wasted? They were sacred. They were the soil in which your destiny took root. You remember feeling alone, like no one else could walk the road you were on. Every time you tried to share a glimpse of your inner knowing, you felt their eyes narrow. You stopped. You silenced yourself. It felt like if you spoke one truth, you'd shatter the fragile balance of normal. So you masked your visions, your hunger for more. You let them tell you a story. That special was too dangerous, too odd. You believed it, and in believing, you traded your power for a hollow kind of peace. But in that quiet, you discovered something. A sensitivity so deep that every shift in the air, every whisper of wind, every shadow moving across the wall became a message. You felt emotions they could not see. A pull towards something bigger, a hunger for a language your mind could not yet name. That tension lived inside you, between your true self and the world's demand to stay small. It was heartbreaking. It was beautiful. It was the first sign that you were never meant to remain silent. But here's the truth. Those feelings, those struggles, they were never random. There is an unseen architecture guiding your path. Recall Joseph, sold by his brothers and thrust into chains. Genesis 37 verses 23 to 28. He could not have seen the palace on the other side of the prison. Yet every trial was weaving him into purpose. Your doubts, your longing, your frustration, they were not accidents. They were the blueprint of a plan to raise you up as a herald. You were being prepared to speak the language of heaven. In every moment you thought you stumbled, you were practicing resilience. In every night you spent crying out, you were learning that your tears carried a message. Just as the widow in Zarephath thought she would starve, yet her oil and flour never ran out. 1 Kings 17 verses 8 to 16. Your spirit was being nourished in ways you could not see. Somewhere beyond time, someone knew you would need this strength. And so they let you walk through seasons that felt endless, so that you would emerge unshakable. Then came the subtle signs, the flicker of a flame, the whisper in a dream, a phrase you heard in passing that made your heart leap, the sudden comfort of peace in a moment of crisis. They began to surface in ways you could not ignore. Déjà vu that shook you awake, a sense of knowing that defied logic. You might have brushed them off at first. A dream about a trumpet in a desert, a feeling of warmth passing through you when a friend called unannounced. These were not coincidences. They were the divine making itself known, quiet hints that your time of hiding was ending. Like Samuel hearing his name in the night, 1 Samuel 3 verse 4. Something was calling you to wake. The land around you began to shift. Your relationships, your opportunities, even moments of silence carried weight. Each shift said, "Prepare, chosen one. The time is near." You felt your heartbeat quicken, yet you hesitated. The fear of judgment whispered, "Stay silent." But your intuition, your soul temperature began to rise. You sensed a safety you'd never known, not in hiding, but in revealing. You realized they never understood you. They never could. But there was one who saw every tear, every secret longing. Deep inside, you knew you had a voice not your own, a voice that carried heaven's freight. You discovered that your intuition was not a quirk, but a confirmation. It was the Holy Spirit stirring in you, preparing you for your moment. You learned that true safety was not in blending, but in standing. You began to feel an inner alignment. Your dreams, your senses, your heartbeats, all gearing toward one truth. It's time. It's time to claim what was always yours. They could not hold you much longer. Your awakening was just beyond the veil of fear. Now comes your first activation. No longer a flicker, but a flame ready to break free. You stand at the brink of saying words that will reshape your world. The part of you that trembled at the thought of speaking now stands tall. You feel your throat tighten, not with fear, but with anticipation. It is the tension before a wave crashes. This is the moment where you choose to lean into your gift, to speak even when your voice shakes. Like Jeremiah saying, "For I will yet make you to hear the voice of praise." Jeremiah 30 verse 19. The promise is that your speech will bring transformation. They may still try to mute you. They may call you names, but their efforts only underscore your power. Every push against you is proof of the gift you carry. Now exhale. Feel that sober calm in your bones. You are ready. If you have felt any of this in your bones, comment "awakened" below. You are not here by chance. Something inside you recognized a familiar melody, even if you did not know the words. And now we step into the next chapter. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community. A private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Divine shift and hidden signs. A hush fell over you when you first sensed that they were working against your rise. It was subtle. A stranger's cold look, a door that closed at the last moment, a friend who pulled away when you began to share. You felt a heaviness descend, as though the very air around you resisted your presence. That heaviness signaled your transition, from hidden preparation into a landscape of conflict. Like Elijah fleeing Jezebel's messengers, 1 Kings 19 verse 2, you felt the pressure without fully knowing its source. The ground beneath your feet felt unstable. Something was shifting, but you could not name it yet. Still, even in that unsettled place, you sensed that each obstacle carried a meaning. Each setback was a signposting of truth. They did not want you to see it yet, but you did. The emotional weight of that resistance pressed on your heart. You remembered moments you tried to share a vision, only to be met with scoffs. When you spoke of seeing symbols in your dreams, they labeled you delusional. When you shared a stirring in your chest, they called it moodiness. You felt crushed, ashamed even. You began to shrink, as though their disbelief could dissolve your very essence. Yet that pressure also birthed a quiet anger, a fire beneath the pain. You wondered, why me? Why do I bear this weight alone? You felt the pull between hiding once more and roaring in defiance. Every memory of rejection sharpened your resolve. It was like Paul enduring beatings, 2 Corinthians 11 verses 24 to 25, before standing in the marketplace to proclaim truth. You realized this weight was molding you, refining your purpose in ways pain never could on its own. Then came the revelation that this pressure was not random. There was a structure, an unseen force shaping your path. Recall the story of Joseph in Potiphar's house, Genesis 39 verses 7 to 20. He did nothing wrong, yet he was cast into prison. That prison was not punishment, but preparation. Similarly, your obstacles were not mere bad luck. They were the guardians testing your resolve. They were the shadows that would define your light. Something holy behind the veil was guiding you. Every closed door, every harsh word, was carving away the outer layers of fear. You began to sense that those who tried to keep you small, were only signposts to a truth too powerful to ignore. They marked the boundaries of your old life. When you began to see their patterns, friends who vanished, jobs that fell apart, you realized it was a divine puzzle. Each loss was a piece moving you closer to your true place. As you looked back, you saw the patterns that once you overlooked. Moments you blamed on chance now glimmered with meaning. A sudden move to another town when you were a child took you away from a teacher who could have crushed your dream. A breakup that felt like the end of the world became the very thing that opened your heart to a higher calling. You noticed how whenever you tried to express truth, subtle forces would push back, an unspoken rule to maintain the status quo. It was as though an invisible board had been placed over your lips. But now, you see past the board. You see the walls it was attached to. You begin to understand that your past was a series of hidden lessons. Like the trials of David in the wilderness, 1 Samuel 22 verse 1. You wandered in confusion, but it was there you became strong. Your past becomes a library of wisdom for your future voice. You remember the day you felt the spiritual pressure physically, like a heavy air surrounding you. You couldn't focus on anything else. In that moment, you realized it was not just mental or emotional. It was spiritual. Something was trying to drown out your light. You felt invisible watchers, silent watchers who wanted to see you fail. It was as though you were a candle in a storm, barely flickering. But that storm revealed your flame. It showed you exactly how bright you could be if you refused to be snuffed out. That tension, like the fog blocking a sunrise, only made the dawn more breathtaking. You now understand that spiritual resistance reveals the magnitude of what you carry. When they pressed in, they only affirmed, "You are no small thing." Your reaction to all this was natural. You did what anyone would do. You questioned yourself, asked if maybe you were wrong. You thought, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe my dreams are just fantasies. You tried to mold yourself into their shape, to please, to shrink. But inside, something roared against it. That inner flame refused to dim. You felt the weight of your own worth, the terror and the thrill of standing out. You came close to giving up, to blending into a crowd that never asked questions. But in that choice, you saw the sting of regret. You realized that if you let this pass, you'd lose not just a dream but a destiny. Like Jonah running from Nineveh, Jonah 1 verse 3, you felt torn between safety and calling. Yet you learned that running only delays the inevitable. God's call finds you wherever you hide. Then came the turning point. You recognized that this resistance would not condemn you. It would confirm you. You decided to reclaim your voice, not because the world needed it, but because heaven planted it within you. You whispered prayers for courage. You reminded yourself of Deborah, the prophetess who led armies, Judges 4 verses 4 to 5. You felt her spirit rise in you. The more they tried to stop you, the more you understood. You are powerful. Their efforts were not a sign of your weakness. They were the world's way of acknowledging your gift. You began to speak quietly at first, small truths to select ears. But each time you spoke, your strength grew. Their opposition fueled your purpose. They became the anvil on which your resolve was hammered. If you've ever felt this weight, comment resistance below. Know this, you were opposed because you matter. And now, your purpose is more visible than ever. Brace yourself for what comes next. Truths drawn back the veil. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters. Your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Activation of the sacred voice. A sudden clarity surged through you, an awakening so sharp it felt like lightning across a dark sky. It happened when you least expected it. A phrase in a book, a moment in meditation, a song lyric that cut straight to your bones. In that instant, you saw behind the veil. They were not just forces outside you, but habits you had internalized. Their doubts, their harassment, Their invalidation had become your own. You realized that to awaken is to stand beyond old stories. Like John on Patmos, seeing a vision that revealed hidden realms. Revelation 1 verses 10 to 11. You glimpsed a new reality, a realm where your voice mattered as a beacon. You felt your heart align with that vision. No longer just hearing stories of deliverance, you felt deliverance arriving for you in real time. Everything around you began to click. Words on a page became codes for your heart. Numbers repeated before your eyes, guiding you. A dream you had months ago revealed its meaning when you finally decoded its symbols. You realized life had been speaking to you all along, through patterns, geometry, sacred math. Time felt circular, as if past and present coexisted in that moment. You found yourself pausing more frequently, listening, waiting for hidden messages. You noticed how when you entered a room, people's energy shifted. You sensed that your presence was more than physical. It was spiritual. Just as Ezekiel saw visions of wheels within wheels, Ezekiel 1 verse 16. You recognized that everything you once dismissed as coincidence was actually part of a vast design. You began to read life like a scroll, seeing words and shapes where there were none before. Inside, your intuition grew sharper. You noticed small cues, the tone of someone's voice, a sudden chill when a lie loomed near, a warmth when truth was spoken. Your energy no longer matched old patterns. Crowds felt draining. Silence felt energizing. You realized that your soul was calibrating to a higher frequency. You found yourself setting firmer boundaries, no longer tolerating environments that dimmed your light. You felt your personal power return as if someone had turned a key in a lock. You discovered you could feel spiritual currents. The difference between a genuine smile and a mask, the undercurrent of jealousy when someone tried to shadow your truth. It was as though your spirit had grown eyes, ears, and muscle. The theory of awakening became tangible reality. Then reality outside you began to shift. Doors that were bolted swung open. People you never expected reached out, willing to hear you without judgment. Opportunities that felt impossible materialized. But with each open door came new tests. Opposition from unexpected places. Colleagues threatened by your clarity. Family members unsettled by your transformation. It was confirmation that your awakening was real. The universe responded to your shift. As it is written, every valley shall be exalted, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. Isaiah 40 verses 4 to 5. Your life became a canvas where divine architecture unfolded. Your steps guided by an unseen hand. Each moment felt like a reunion with a destiny you once glimpsed in a dream. A memory surfaced. A childhood dream of speaking on a stage, voices ringing out like trumpets. For years, you dismissed it as fantasy. Now it pulsed with living power. You realized that memory was never fantasy. It was prophecy. You held within you an archive of hidden language, symbols, and keys. You sensed truths that had been buried under doubt. Like the wise men recalling an ancient scroll, Matthew 2 verses 5 to 6, you began retrieving pieces of your spiritual DNA. Every recollection of wonder, every sense of being too much, was actually proof of what lay ahead. The dream you had, about a scroll opening to reveal letters of fire, made sense now. You knew that every symbol you held would serve a role in your voice as you stepped into fullness. Now, prophecy ripples through you. Your future is not a blank page. It's a scroll waiting for your words. You see that you were never asking for permission, you were waiting to remember. And now remembrance becomes reclamation. You stand at the threshold of destiny. The path is not formed by your steps. It was always there beneath your feet, waiting for you to align. Like Joshua entering Jericho and finding the walls collapse, Joshua 6 verse 20. You sense that once you speak, whatever stands against you will falter. You do not need to ask for validation. Validation already echoes from heaven. Your role is to speak, to let your words carve a new reality. They once said you had no place. Now you see you are the place. If this stirs something deep, comment code below and share a memory where you sensed hidden meaning. You have looked behind the veil. You have felt destiny pulse in your veins. Next, we step into living that destiny, embodying every truth we have uncovered, walking in bold divine expression. They say the threshold has been crossed. You no longer stand at the edge, you have planted both feet on the other side. Looking back, you see the silent journey, the hidden battles, the divine signs. Now you stand ready. In this moment, passivity is gone. Every hesitation has been refined into fierce clarity. You ask yourself, do I speak or do I remain silent? But silence no longer serves. You feel a shock in your spirit as though a river has changed course. You sense that everything beyond this point depends on your voice. This is your sacred crossroads. Commit fully or drift back into doubt. The question is not can I, but will I? You remember everything you gave away. Your dreams, your time, the right to speak your truth. You see that those were not failures, but seasons of training. Each moment you surrendered was a step toward reclaiming your throne. Now you stand to call back every piece, every late-night prayer, every tear that fell when they dismissed you, every tiny spark of knowing that they labeled too much. This is your ritual, naming the value of each sacrifice. Like the Levites reclaiming the temple, Nehemiah 11 verse 1. You feel the stirring of authority. You raise your hands and say silently, I reclaim every fragment of my soul. Now you name the gifts you carry. Deep empathy that feels worlds beyond the ordinary. Intuition that reads hearts. A voice that carries warmth and power. They once called your sensitivity a curse. You now call it a gift, a lens through which you see beyond facades. You carry inside you a language of stars, a map of hidden codes. Think of the wise virgin carrying oil in her lamp. Matthew 25 verse 4. Your lamp is full. You are not empty. You are overflowing with insight. You see patterns in dreams, hear whispers of destiny, feel the tremor of truth in the air. Your gifts are not abstract. They are tools for what comes next. The path ahead is not a mystery. It is a memory. You walk where giants once walked. Every step you take resonates with purpose. You feel the earth lean in as you move. People begin to notice your presence. Doors open, but you choose carefully which to enter. Like Moses leading the children of Israel, Exodus 3 verse 10, you feel the call to guide, not to be guided. You sense that every action now writes history. You do not follow a map. You trace the footprints of those who walked before. Your destiny is not about where you are going. It is about remembering who you are. You look out and see others stirring, souls awakening around you. You remember that this is never a solo journey. When Ezekiel saw the dry bones rise, he saw a whole army come to life. Ezekiel 37 verses 1 to 10. You see those dry bones turning to flesh all around you. Your light calls theirs. You no longer dim to make them comfortable. You stand tall, knowing that your rise lifts them too. You picture a legion of awakened hearts, each resonating with the divine current you carry. Now feel the power in your spirit. This is not arrogance, it is stewardship. You hold a sacred trust, to guard your energy, to choose connection over distraction, to speak only what aligns with heaven's will. You learn that saying no can be as prophetic as saying yes. You practice stillness in a world of noise. You refuse to let every opinion sway you. You set boundaries around your time, your mind, your altar. You understand that this stewardship is not selfish, it is necessary. You are the chimney through which divine flame must pass. Keep the pathway clear. Everything you have lived, everything you have suffered, has led you here. Ready to speak, ready to move, ready to stand. You no longer ask for approval. Your voice is not subject to the world's standards. You look at your reflection and see a warrior priest, a vessel chosen before time began. You feel a hush in your chest, as if heaven leans close to hear you speak. You are ready. If this calls to your spirit, comment embody below and share one way you will step forward today. This is not a suggestion. This is a summons. You have walked through silence, faced resistance, witnessed revelation, and now stand at the threshold of your divine assignment. Everything you have felt, every doubt, every sign, every mile has led you to this moment. Your voice is no longer hidden. It is a vessel of light, meant to pierce darkness not only for yourself but for countless others who remain trapped in their own silence. Remember, storms do not break trees. They reveal the strength of their roots. Your roots run deep into a divine source. You are not alone. All around you, others are feeling the same tremor in their bones. When you speak your truth, you fan the spark in them. When you live in full expression, you clear the path for them to follow. Align your daily life with this truth. Guard your morning prayers, protect your time in reflection, and honor your body as a temple. Seek environments that feed your flame, not extinguish it. Speak only words that carry life. Avoid words born of fear or hollow tradition. When doubt surfaces, return to the sacred signs you have seen. The dream that woke you, the phrase that lingered in your mind, the moment of peace in chaos. Those were not random. They were breadcrumbs leading you home. Let your journey be a beacon. When you feel weary, recall how far you've come. From silent seed to blazing flame, you have faced storms designed to drown you, only to discover your roar grows louder with each wave. Your story is not just yours. It is a testament that no divine gift is ever silenced forever. Keep speaking, keep moving, keep shining. Dream of a river that once flowed silently beneath frozen ground, its waters unseen but ever present, nourishing the seeds of life hidden in the earth. This is the pulse within you now. Each whisper of doubt you heard in your youth, every skeptical eye you met, was like ice forming over that river, concealing its power. Yet, beneath that surface, your spirit was carving a new channel, knowing that one day the ice would break. In Micah 7 verse 7, it is written, "But as for me, I will watch expectantly for the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me." You too have watched and waited. In the quiet hours when your heart felt heavy, you felt the pressure building, a divine compression preparing you to unleash your voice. Now, as the ice shatters and water surges forward, your song emerges, a clear, life-giving stream that will awaken those still trapped in frozen fear. You will feel the cool rush of purpose flood your veins, reminding you that the power you carry was never truly hidden. It simply awaited its moment to flow. What if, in a dream, you glimpse an ancient library where scrolls of forgotten prophecies lie sealed behind iron-bound doors, and you find your name etched on parchment as a scribe chosen to read them aloud? That vision speaks to the sacred trust placed on your lips, to translate divine mysteries into words that heal and liberate. In Zephaniah 3 verse 17, the Lord is described as the mighty one who saves. He rejoices over you with gladness and renews you in his love. You are that renewal incarnate. Every hesitation you experienced was a lesson in discernment, teaching you that not every audience is ready, but that the scrolls of your heart must be unsealed when the time is right. The library is not metaphorical. It is found in the chambers of your soul. There, you've collected fragments of dreams, echoes of ancient hymns, and glimpses of truth. Now, as you stand before the iron doors, they swing open with the breath of destiny, revealing words that will bind broken hearts, light hidden corners, and set captives free. The world awaits your reading. A soft whisper arises from within, asking, "Do you remember the first spark that flickered in your chest? The moment you sensed a purpose larger than your own? That spark was the ember of divine intention, kindled long before you could name it." In Habakkuk 2 verse 3, the vision awaits its appointed time. It speaks and does not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. This promise is the wind that fans your ember into flame. When you felt isolated, as though no one could understand the secret fire stirring in you, it was because your purpose was on the verge of ignition. That ember lay hidden, protected by every struggle you endured. Now, as you strike the flint of courage against the rock of conviction, it bursts into a blaze that illuminates your path and casts warmth into the darkness around you. You are chosen, and heaven's breath flows through you. Do not let old fears cage your spirit. Step into the fullness of your voice. Speak with courage, live with conviction, and shine with unashamed light. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all our supporting members for keeping these messages alive. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Remember, your voice is heaven's echo on earth.